all three of the teams that won now have to get it done in the next round.
So Lindenwood's women's varsity squad will then head to the final. They will take on the McKendree women's varsity squad. Lindenwood will have to defeat McKendree twice. Again, double elimination. So then we're down to the finals, and then the men's, on the men's side of the bracket, or the varsity bracket, I should say, McKendree will take on Illinois. McKendree will have the same feat as LU's women's team. Will have to defeat Illinois twice to come away with the Lions Classic. And for McKendree, we'll get into that in just a second, but they will take place, looks like their match will take place on 13 and 14, and that's a pair they're more than familiar with.
Yes, it is.
Also, we just talked about LU, the women's varsity, I beg your pardon, and we'll face McKendree as well. And then our men's junior varsity match.
This goes back to the bragging rights we talked about.
Right. It'll be the JV1 and JV2. So that should be fun and entertaining. And we'll have both of those for you, of course, along with what's taking place, our championship match on 13 and 14. And it looks like 11 and 12 will be the designated spot for championship action on the women's varsity squad.
And we will have the scoring graphic up for the two varsity matches on lanes 11 and 12 for the women, 13 and 14 for the men. And we will keep you updated on the scores for the men's junior varsity on 15 and 16. But I would say it's safe to say that I bet an LU men's team is going to win the men's JV.
Yeah. I think so.
For the old school listeners, that's a B team and a C team right there.
Well, Daniel, we've I know Matt has actually been here, I believe, since 6 o'clock this morning, and we have whittled the brackets down. A lot of bowling has taken place since this morning and yesterday.
Yes.
All to get to this point. We've already had one champion crown, and that is the LU JV1, if I'm not mistaken, as the JV varsity, or excuse me, the women's JV champions here at the 4th Annual Lions Classic, of course. And now 3 championship finals simultaneously going on.
Boy.
Doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I'll tell you what, I'll say I'm surprised to see it. I'm more proud than I am surprised to see this Illinois men's team. Back when I bowled in college, Illinois wasn't always a big factor back then. That program has obviously leaps and bounds better, has improved. So a great shout out and kudos to them for making the final of this tournament.
Absolutely.
And beating the teams they've beaten.
I think they usually get a lot of area individuals, and I'm speaking from the Illinois state. Of course, a lot of area individuals from the Chicago area, which would be my area. I know a couple of players who went there and played very well, succeeded, kind of to push Illinois to where they are now. Illinois in the driver's seat, have to be beaten twice by McKendree, and same thing for McKendree's women's varsity squad. They have to be defeated twice, so they expect a lot of drama, especially from the McKendree-Lindenwood match.
And you want to talk about a turn of momentum. These teams, make sure I get my name, the LU JV1, Illinois, McKendree, they walk into this going, we got to be beaten twice. Twice? We haven't been beaten yet. Are you kidding me? And the other team is looking at it going, man, we've got to beat them twice. That other team gets that first set win, that momentum, that meter shifts from about here all the way over to here.
And as we both can attest to, it's a lot easier said than done.
Yes. All of a sudden the pit area is filled with these teams' respective teammates, men's and women's teammates. I believe we should be just about finishing up practice pretty soon.
My original point to make, again, shout out to Matt Turek, and his first broadcast as a producer. To my estimation, looks like things have gone about as good as you can get.
I've got no complaints.
So thanks to Matt. Again, was here at 6 a.m. along with Brian Burkhart.
Who just got back.
Who is here, as a matter of fact.
Just
How
showed
about
up.
that? Boy, just, man. I must have that effect. Call
See,
people's names and they just show up.
I call people out and tell them they did something good, and
Yeah.
they have a rough game. It's the opposite effect there.
Well, a good thing that our cameras are stationed high, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
Because immediately in our vantage point, we have no
none.
No view of lanes 13 and 14. Barely a view of 11 and 12. And somewhat of a view of 15 and 16. So the center has now filled with a buzz. Teams know what's at stake. A champion, or 3 champions now, will be crowned, 1 already in the books. So they are just about wrapping up or finished wrapping up with their practice shots. Daniel, what do you think is going through? You mentioned it earlier, but as an individual, just to jump inside of a mind of one of these bowlers, and what's going through their heads right now?
Well, it depends on which team you're looking at. If you're looking at one of the teams that came out of the winner's bracket, they feel pretty invincible right now. They feel like they've got a good lock of the lanes. Maybe they haven't thrown a ball for, it could be a half hour for some teams, could be more than an hour for other teams. But they're young. They've had the practice pair to stay loose on, so it's not like they haven't thrown a single ball. They've had the opportunity to throw shots. You feel like, look, they've got to beat us twice. They can't beat us twice. Nobody's beaten us yet. And then you go into the match with that mindset, and if you do get beat that first set, it completely switches to, oh my gosh, well, there's no way we can lose now. We shouldn't have lost that one. And on the opposite side, if you're coming in and you've got to beat a team twice, you're not worried because you're the underdog. You're not supposed to win because you have to beat them twice. So you just go in, no holds barred, and if you can get that first match win, it's all even at that point. The momentum completely changes.
You brought up a good point. Illinois has been sitting for quite some time. I'm sure they've had an opportunity to work, like you say, warm a little bit on the practice pair, but they haven't been in live competition almost for hours now. So they had to come in not cold, but, they haven't bowled. It's in their favor. Of course, they had to be beaten twice nonetheless, but you kind of got a hot McKendree team here who's kind of figured it out and put some things together as of late. That's going to be tough for Illinois.
And plus, throwing shots on a practice pair to stay loose is completely different, like you said, than throwing competition shots. Not just in the physical sense of it, but, even reading the lane. I can't tell you how many times during a college tournament we've sent a guy down to a practice pair, or I've gone down myself, and I'm like, man, I am lined up. I've got it. I come down, Randy, I've got to look. And then I'll go up and I'll throw a shot, and it'll look horrible because the practice pair has so fewer games bowled on it, or depending on the frequency, maybe more games bowled on it. So yeah, if one of these players is on the practice pair and thinks he has a look or she has a look that's going to translate to the competition pair right now, they're probably sadly mistaken. I got a look. I believe I was a little ahead of myself before. I think now we're kind of starting to wrap up practice.
They switch lanes. So when they do that, of course, I think we assume once everything
good point.
gets quiet. But people get quiet. You don't hear anything, so you think. obviously not counting each shot, but you think that they've finished their warm-up, and that is not the case.
One thing that went through my mind about a half hour ago is that as a broadcaster, as a fan of the sport, to watch the cheers, the complicated cheers these girls seem to come up with, it's neat. It's cool. But I tell you what, as a 20-year-old bowler, man, that was annoying. But sitting back here, it's so neat to hear. And I've seen some of the Bellarmine girls back in the day. They would actually have team meetings about these cheers, and they would practice them, and they would the choreography that goes into it.
Wow.
I mean, it's neat.
That's
it
serious.
Really is. Yeah. Yeah.
How about that?
I mean, sometimes you got to, if you want to plan a celebration, maybe you have a notebook with some moves in it. Maybe you've got your stuff in there. I mean, you just got to go all out.
Let's get a quick rundown here of the men's varsity brackets from today. Of course, we started today with a couple play-in matches, the 8-9 seeds. Central Missouri moved on, LU Belleville versus SIUE. LU Belleville then moved on in that matchup. And Central Missouri went on to upset Lindenwood, the top seed in round number 1. And the opening match there. Moving on to take on Illinois, who defeated Rock Valley. Then Illinois moved on and defeated Indiana. Missouri Baptist lost to Indiana. Indiana moved on to the winner's bracket. McKendree and LU Belleville did battle. McKendree won, then lost to IU on this very pair, 13 and 14, that they are on. Moved on to take on, of course, U of I. Now I'm speaking of Indiana. And Indiana then lost to Illinois in that Big Ten matchup. And now Illinois will face McKendree, who had to battle their way from the contenders bracket, defeating Missouri Baptist in the process. Then Lindenwood in round 4. And then, of course, Indiana again avenging their loss earlier in round 5. Well, 2 matches have begun, the men's JV final and the women's varsity final. And the men's JV final, again, LU1 and LU2. No play-in took place this morning in the JV bracket. JV1, the 3 seed, took on Mobap. JV1, LU1 moved on to take on the number 2 seed McKendree, JV1, who got a bye. The top seed Lindenwood JV2 also received a bye, and they faced McKendree 2 in round number 2. And then LU1 and LU2 did battle, of course, in the winner's bracket. LU1 moved on. LU2 actually lost. They fell to the contenders bracket where they took on McKendree again and now find themselves in the final. This girls match will no doubt be loud because the girls will get into it. And this is a bit of a rivalry, wouldn't you think, Daniel? You know,
yeah, and it's a rivalry that really, even when we bowled, it wasn't overstated, it wasn't overplayed, but you did always want to beat McKendree. I mean, they're right down I-70, down I-64 over in Illinois, and you wanted to beat them because they were so close. I'm gonna let them finish.
There's a cheer.
That's a cheer. That's a bunch of guys too. Although I will say Dre had some good ones back in the day. But anyway, yeah, we always wanted to beat McKendree. We saw no reason why we couldn't. And then all of a sudden, about my junior year, McKendree got good. And they got real good. And they really haven't let off since then.
So the men's final now set to start through 3 frames in the JVs. LU JV1 with an early lead, 9-pin lead over JV2. I expect this McKendree LU matchup to be pretty exciting. And I would expect some surprises here. You mentioned the University of Illinois. They beat some good teams to get here, and I think that will transpire. I don't think they're going to be intimidated one bit by McKendree, even though they got a lot of fans, obviously, a lot of teammates here as well.
Great trip forward to start out there for McKendree on that first shot. Now Stephanie Bergman for Lindenwood comes up heavy on the head pin. Gets out the 6 from the 6-10, leaving only the 10. Good break there. Anytime you go from a choppable spare or a multi-pin spare down to a single pin spare, it's a good break. Illinois has yet to throw their first shot. McKendree's opened up with a double here for the men. Illinois going dead through the face, breaking down the 7-10 on the first strike. And that's a good way to get some mojo going for your team right there. Not something you want to try to do, obviously. We see over on lane 15, one of our techs, Ricky Matsko, picking up the spare on the JV men's final.
Ricky told me, he said earlier that he hoped that he wouldn't be up here. Now, he did come up, of course, when he had some time during a break and make sure we were okay. But now we see him where he belongs, and that's bowling in a championship final.
Yes, sir. McKendree starts out front 3. Now Amanda Green for Lindenwood. High flush, gets the 4-9 out, a pinch late, but it is a strike nonetheless to take a 1-pin lead over McKendree as they are 5 frames through the game. McKendree up now bowling their anchor in the 5th spot. Good shot up the gutter, playing it the way that the pattern's intended. McKendree tries to open up with front 4, but they will leave a stubborn 4-pin in the 4th. Illinois looking at a 9-pin on their second shot. Lindenwood doubles the 5th and 6th. And now McKendree will step up trying to return the favor. Put up their own double.
Nine-pin successfully converted there by Jeremy Kuntz. Jeremy Kuntz, a junior at the University of Illinois. Guess what his major is?
Business management.
No. Think outside the box.
Outside the box. Nutritional environmentalist.
That's pretty close. It's not close to what he's majoring in, but that's definitely outside the box. Aerospace engineering.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
And he can toss the rock. An aerospace engineer, maybe the first bowler in space.
Could be.
As we talk about the outside facts of college bowling, we'll get back to the inside facts, and that is that Lindenwood women have a 3-bagger. McKendree leaves a stubborn 10 en route to their attempt at a 3-bagger. Great shot by McKendree men there. Got 4 of the front 5, 4 of the first 5, as the McKendree women run down their single pin. LU women working now on a 4-bagger. 5th frames through the 8th frames. Anchor Amanda Green got it started off with the strike. Her teammates have followed suit. Illinois now, after flanking a single pin in the 3rd, has struck the 4th. They're looking to be down about 30 to the McKendree men. Looking to roll the 2-pin, can't get the luck. We'll wind up with a single pin. Now 6-count lead for the McKendree women. Down on lane 11, misses the head pin right, 1, 2, 4, 8. Stephanie Bergman up, flushes it, 5 in a row for Lindenwood. safe to say they will probably take game one for the women's final. Again, they have to beat McKendree in 2 best-of-3 series. So a long way to go for the Lindenwood Lady Lions, but they will get the first game.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. The first game is so important, especially in a situation like Lindenwood's in, needing to beat them in 2 matches. So if you can get off to a great start in game number 1, kind of that gives you that added confidence that can carry you through.
And I'll just take a real quick score update for the JV men's final down there. Not 100% sure which team is JV1 and which team is JV2. JV1, I believe, is on the left lane. They have 134 in the 7th with a strike in the 8th. The JV2 team has 97 in the 7th. They have thrown 3 opens, 2 splits, and have 1 strike in the game. So it looks like the first game's going to go to JV1 down there for the men. Meanwhile, back here down to the women's final, Amanda Green strikes the 10th. That's 6 in a row. The LU women on a roll, looking to put up an impressive 250 game if they can double here in the 10th.
Late 10-pin falls for McKendree. I believe that was in the 7th frame. McKendree. That's Sean Bibby. And, McKendree's 10th frame offering from Trista Flowers. Leaves the 3-6.
It looks like the Lady Lions will shoot 247 en route to a game 1 victory. McKendree made a double there, would have separated them quite a bit from Illinois. Comes up light, leaves the bucket. Illinois still working in the 7th frame. 97 in the 6th, excuse me, in the 5th, with the spare in the 6th. Good shot for the Illini. Half pocket, carries it. And the McKendree men take the 5-pin off of the 2-4-5, leaving them with 165 in the 8th on an open.
Illinois with a chance to still win this game here, but they need to strike here. In fact, they need them all. There's one.
Good shot.
That's Josh Reeves.
Illinois, again, they were the winners bracket finalists, so they would only have to beat McKendree once. McKendree would have to do the double. 200 the first game for the McKendree women. You know, and even though the McKendree women lost that game, they put together a good game. It was a clean 200. They had a couple doubles. You can't really be all that upset with that.
No, you can't at all.
The team you bowled threw 6 in a row at you.
Your opponent just bowled a little bit better than you.
Yep.
And good strike in the 9th frame. And Justin Huddy.
The first word I heard off of that bowler's hand, one of his teammates yelled Brooklyn, and that is never a good sign. He crossed over, leaves a 2-pin.
Justin Hod.
That will put, assuming the spare, that puts Illinois 1 up on the score, but 9 down on count, with McKendree striking in the 9th.
Well, this is will be Darren Dunning.
And he misses the 2-pin. Darren spare strike gets the win. Strike first shot in the 10th gets the win.
Well, Dunning has again been pretty okay.
He has been
in 10th frames today.
Yes, he has.
And you see Ricky Matsko off to your right. Pick up the 3, 6, 7, 10. There it is.
Great shot. That'll win the game. McKendree men will take game 1 over the Illini.
He's been clutch. He's been clutch all day, and for Illinois, that's the kind of game that you don't want to happen. You get a late open, in the back half of the game. Kind of gives that McKendree even more momentum, feeling pretty good about themselves after taking game 1.
The JV Lindenwood JV1 team will shoot 179, but the JV2 team shoots 153, so that 179 is enough to get the job done.
Dunning will just finish it out here, awaiting his next offering here in the 10th. Pretty solid as well. Well, the fans have compiled around us in the pit, mostly teammates for both teams, or all 3 teams actually. Illinois' women's team is behind their men's team now, rooting them on, of course. The LU individuals and the JV winners down with the varsity squad of the women. Of course, LU 1 and 2 JV going down on 15 and 16. They've got all the teammates you could want.
Yes, they do.
194 for Illinois. A couple of single pin misses.
If I had to pick one bugaboo when it comes to Baker Bowl, and that's probably it. I've seen missed single pins cost teams, cost myself. You just hate to see that. Was that a 5-pin?
It was a 5-pin, but it wasn't Darren. Or put someone else into the ball game to get that field shot. Know what those are like. Field shot contests back in the day.
I'll never forget those.
I believe LU JV 1.
Yes.
Did defeat JV 2.
179 to 153.
Got game number 1, so they are ahead in their match.
And JV 1 has to win 1 match. JV 2 would have to win 2. After an open by the McKendree women, they have come back with a strike. Lindenwood 9 spare strike, 9 spare, 6 spare, cleaning up that mess. McKendree doubles, and they will make it even 4 frames through.
Big double for McKendree. Clean so far through 4. Just 1 strike for Lindenwood women's varsity, and now Illinois will start the game with a tough split. Amanda Green, 10 back in the pit. Outstanding bowler, Amanda Green. First offer from McKendree, and the 5 moves, but it doesn't fall. 5-7. See if we'll have an out of range.
So we do apologize. We are having some technical difficulties on the women's camera. So we will try and keep you updated with every shot that we possibly can. The McKendree women leave a 2-8 in the 5th frame. And a left-hander up for Lindenwood. Comes in light, leaving the 3-5-6-9.
It's all Ray Spink down there. He's fired up after that strike. He's trying to come away with a victory here.
Both McKendree men and Illinois men open up with splits to start the first frame. Both opens now that 5-7 has been missed.
Riley Smith, Sean Bibby, Dylan Polanski, Billy Netzhammer, and Darren Dunning. 1 through 5 for McKendree's men's varsity squad. For Illinois, Kyle Haywood, Jeremy Kuntz, Josh Reeves, Justin Hod, and J.J. Shelpman. 1 through 5 for U of I.
Trista Flowers, anchor for McKendree, chops the 2-8. That gives McKendree 82 in the 5th. Lindenwood leadoff bowler leadoff bowler Amanda Chamberlain picks up the 3-5-6-9. That gives Lindenwood 96 in the 5th with a spare in the 6th. And the McKendree women with another 2-pin.
Well, Bibby almost left the 8-10. He posted that shot. It was a good one. Deflected a little bit. Well, Aller gets his shot.
A spare by the McKendree women.
LU looking pretty solid here after the Darla strike.
Sam Johnson, half pocket, kicks out the late week 10. That's a double for the Lady Lions.
Good shot in the 7th from Stephanie Sabona.
Illinois shot goes high, leaving the 6-pin. Good break there. A 1-pin match. Only 2 frames into this game. The LU women with a 14-pin lead. As Stephanie Bergen pitches one out just a bit, can't get it back, but no washout, no 2-8-10. We do have the women's feed back up and working, but the scoring is not up, so we will keep you posted with the scoring on that. If you've got a pen and paper at home, you know how to keep track, give it a shot. LU women 144 in the 7th, strike in the 8th, 8 count in the 9th. Stephanie Bergman looking to run down this 1-2 spare. Meanwhile, on the right lane, McKendree 102 in the 6th with a strike in the 7th and an 8 count in the 8th. Shooting a 6-10. Stephanie picks up the 1-2. Illinois with a big shot there. Throws their first strike of the game. McKendree looking at a 7 count, 3-6-10 on the right lane. Amanda Green to the 10th, strike. That will give them the Game 2 win.
Yes, sir.
That gives them the Game 2 win. So the LU women have defeated McKendree in the first best of 3. They will now go down to a final best of 3.
Just like that. That's kind of the difference of best of 3, best of 7. You know, McKendree still has an opportunity if this is a best of 7. We've seen teams come down from 2 games to nothing and win matches all the time. That's why Game 1 is so important.
You can get Mo on your side. And you're rolling strong. Get Amanda with a strike. They're going to shoot 2-10 for the LU women. McKendree men take the 3 off the 3-6-10. They open frames 1 and 4, 54 in the 4th. The Illini 48 in the 3rd with a strike in the 4th.
And down in the 15 and 16, LU JV. A close match there as well.
The Illini now with a big double.
McKendree took Game 1, so they are in control. But a couple of tough breaks to begin their game. This is Dunning working on an open for McKendree in the 5th frame. He's been solid in that hole all day. There's another strike. Allison Johnstone again for LU. That is actually JV2.
A 2-pin match down there. JV2 has a 2-pin lead. They are down 1-0 in the match, though.
Nothing doing there for Riley Smith.
Hard 7.
Hard 7-pin. Again, McKendree wrapping things up in their 10th frame. But Lindenwood, the women's varsity, those teams will meet again one more time here. Now to determine the winner. No undefeated teams in the women's varsity round.
Again, we're having some issues with the women's feed, so we will keep you as updated as possible once that match gets going again.
Oh, wow. Talk about a tough break there. Takes one off the 6 count. And Illinois find themselves with 98 in the 6th.
Just when Illinois doubles after a McKendree Open, Illinois cracks the door back open for the Bearcats, who have to defeat the Illini twice. Mind you, they beat them game 1.
.610 now in the 7th frame for Jeremy Kuntz. And McKendree stepping up here in the 7th as well. Sean Bibby almost left the 8-10 on this lane. Back in the 2nd, got the 10 out, left the 8. See the kind of shot he can come up with here.
It's heavy.
It's left. Gets the carry.
Gets the carry.
Spare from Kuntz.
The Illini 4-pin lead on the score. The Bearcats have a 6-pin lead on the count.
See Ray Spink there convert the 10-pin for JV2 for Lindenwood.
The women have started back up now. A best of 3 to decide the tournament championship. Lindenwood starts out with an open. Amanda Chamberlain at leadoff. They will stay on the same pair as they were before. McKendree opens up with a strike.
Illinois gets a break here.
Illinois now with a strike. McKendree goes 9 count with that 4-pin. Now run down the spare. McKendree with the women with a late fall. Late 10-pin to start the game off with a double. Lindenwood, meanwhile, goes open.
Good shot by Hod. I really hope I'm saying his name right. I just call him Justin because that's his first name.
An early double from McKendree, Christine Gill and Stephanie Scabona. The first 2 bowlers. Lindenwood, Amanda Chamberlain, and Darla Ehlert with the open and the spare. And now Samantha Johnson up for the 3rd frame. She's going to go high flush 4-9. Meanwhile, the Illini have doubled in the 8th and 9th with 118 in the 7th. McKendree.
10-pin here from Shelpman for Illinois. Currently 147th in the 8th. And this spare will give them 167, a strike. They can finish with 187. Speaking of Illinois, now Darren Dunning needs the first one in the 10th. Let's see who will go first. There's the old mind games between bowlers.
Misses it.
He misses the 10-pin.
Okay, you need the strike. Darren needs that strike.
Wow.
Spare strike, you lose by 1. We go to a game 3. You get the first one.
Now a must-have.
We go to a new match.
He had to have it anyway. Actually, would have needed a double if we could have made that spare, but no doubt needing the first one here. in the 10th. Strike 9 spare will get it done.
Looks good. Light. Head pin kicks the 4 off the wall all day long.
There you have it. I think I misspoke. I said strike 9 spare. They just needed the first one in the 10th to wrap it up.
You're correct.
9 spare strike.
And for the JV, that is done. JV1 defeats JV2 Lindenwood. So Lindenwood JV1 is your JV men's tournament champion. Both of the varsity men's and women's matches, the contenders bracket, the contenders bracket finalists had to beat the winners bracket finalists twice. They have now beaten them in those first best of 3. So this is it. Game 1 for the women. In the finals, Lindenwood has gone open, spare, open, double. McKendree double, washout, spare the washout.
Had that anchor conversation again earlier, Daniel, and you trust the guy that's down there because you know he's produced for you in the past. And if he hasn't produced for you, you've got enough faith in him to produce. And that's why you keep whoever it is down there. And for McKendree, Darren Dunn has been phenomenal.
All day long he has been. And especially every time he's gotten in front of us, he has looked great.
Maybe he's doing it for the camera.
You know what?
I'll ask
Some
him
guys
about
are
that
just
later.
hams. They love that camera. McKendree women with a split in the 4th frame. And Darren scouts the 9 for good measure. Now McKendree back up. Jody Golick in the 4th. Takes a shot at it. Almost gets the 6 over there. Can't quite sneak it into the 7. Now Lindenwood up in the 7th. 6 gets the 10 out. Good shot. She's been good all day. McKendree, that ball hit the dry. That ball checked the dry just a little bit early. Just a little bit early. Gets high flush 4-pin. McKendree looking at, they're 3 frames behind. They're looking at about a 10-pin lead. Sam Johnson now in the 8th for Lindenwood. Gets it high, 4-6-7. One of those splits, you don't try to make it, you just run the 4-7. And you go on to the 9th frame. The men are now waiting to start their final best of 3 match.
Flowers makes the 4. Junior, also from the Rockford area, from Rockford, Illinois, to Rockford, Guilford. It's a 2nd team All-American.
Whoa. Sam shoots the 4-7. Hits the 7, knocks it back up on the deck. Boy, wouldn't that be something if that pin had taken out both the 4-6?
It was close.
I sit here and say, yeah, you shoot the 4-7, you take your 2. As McKendree strikes the 6th. Lindenwood looking at a max of 188. And McKendree is actually kind of in the driver's seat here because extrapolating the scores out, they're leading. And Lindenwood's going to finish first, so they're going to know what they need to shoot. Stephanie Bergman checks it up through the nose, 4-6.
The importance of Baker and how things can quickly go from being your way, going in your favor, to a complete 180, and you've given all the momentum back to the other team.
We're seeing that with Lindenwood right now as the men have just started. McKendree opens up with a strike, first shot against Illinois.
All the action right here, 11 through 14. The women's varsity match championship, the men's varsity championship. Both teams that needed to win to continue their fight have won. that being the McKendree women and the McKendree men, for that matter. Excuse me, the LU women, I beg your pardon, the Lindenwood women winning the first match versus the McKendree women, and the McKendree men defeating Illinois. McKendree, the men, already looking for a double early. This is Sean Bibby.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. And he leaves the 6-7. Illinois has had chances.
Yes.
In that first match. We've had a couple of late opens. They've rallied into, in fact, their last game, winning on a double. And the anchorman unfortunately missed the 10-pin to J.J. Sheltman. That enabled Darren Dunning to just get the first strike in the 10th, and he did just that. And now a split by McKendree. Although they're still hold a 10-pin lead, again now just in the 9th frame. The LU, max score of 167 after back-to-back splits. Well, looks like they're on their way to being down one game. Important spare for Illinois just to get their confidence back, that they can convert some spares when they need to.
Looking at the women's scores, that mathematically the only way that LU wins this game is if Amanda Green doubles and McKendree goes open. And they have been strong all game. They'll strike the 9th, and that will give them the game 1 win in this best-of-3 final. McKendree now heavy on the head pin. Big 4 gets the 7 out late. Amanda Green strikes the 10th. And again, like that spare for Illinois, that's just that's a confident shot right there.
So Jody Golick bury one for McKendree to lock up the win.
Illinois sends a supersonic scout. Head pin off the left wall back to the right. Flies just in front of the 10-pin, doesn't clip it. So McKendree's opened up this game strike, split. McKendree anchor Trista Flowers will 2-8-10 in the 10th, but it doesn't matter. 1 pin was enough.
Another good spare from Illinois against Jeremy Kuntz.
Now McKendree up on the right lane, trying to climb up out of this little bit of a hole they've got. Again, McKendree beat Illinois in the first best-of-3. Good shot, 4 falls late.
Former all-area player, Nets Hammer, back in 2008, just from Alton, Illinois. Again, just off the Missouri border to Illinois. Alton, Belleville, all around the same area. Well, LU falls in the game number 1 here. 173 to 157 to McKendree. McKendree now, the game 1 win, the momentum, especially if you look at the way LU finished that game, had a couple splits in the back half. Now McKendree looking to get it done. Here's Dunning. Speaking of getting it done, Darren Get It Done Dunning. Almost left the big 4. Could we see more transitioning taking place here? Ball starting to check a little early.
He didn't like it. Oh, I see why. Illinois shooting that 3-6-10 dead off his hand. He just turned around. I thought he got it right. No, he just right down the middle.
McKendree goes strike, split, split, strike. And almost a split from Dunning. He's got the 4-7 to deal with. Illinois just got to stay clean. They got to fill frames.
Yeah. It's like you said a couple minutes ago, they had ample opportunity that first game. Or excuse me, that's that first set, the second game that they lost, to pull ahead of McKendree, and they just couldn't do it. Now Lindenwood first game, or first shot, second game. Amanda Chamberlain, lefty, southpaw, strikes. McKendree women 1 game away from a tournament championship.
Good start.
Christine Gill knows it with the strike. McKendree men now will throw the strike. Sam Johnson up in the second frame, kind of points it off her hand a little bit. Left off her hand, off target, through the nose, gets the 6 out late, leaves the 10 pin.
Lindenwood Lions, the women's varsity are led by head coach Phil Vida. Pocket 7-10 left. Stephanie Sabona for McKendree. See some lineup alterations for LU. As now Samantha Johnson in the second spot in the 2-hole.
And you see a shot like that from Stephanie from McKendree, and you think, okay, she deserved one of it. You don't deserve both of them.
Well, early open frame for McKendree, the women's squad I'm talking. Back to the men's. Illinois, a double here would be really nice. And right through the face. 4-7-10.
Meanwhile, Lindenwood, flush strike from Darla in the third. McKendree goes left off her hand. Lucky to leave only the 10 pin. McKendree men shooting a 2-8. He'll take 1.
Missed it to the left.
This has been a back and forth match between Illinois and McKendree. Bergman now with a good shot, half pocket. 7 refuses to go down.
Well, Illinois gets the count from Kyle Haywood. McKendree, the men here need a little spark. We've had a couple of splits in this game, and 7 pin won't go for Polanski.
Stephanie Bergman runs the 10 pin. Lindenwood right now fighting for their lives in this tournament. Down 1-0 in a best of 3.
Can hear a pin drop here.
I think 10 are about to drop right here.
Well, talk about getting a break and needing a break. Illinois with the crossover strike to Brooklyn from Jeremy Coons.
I mean, dead off his hand, he just turns around. Didn't like it, got the break. McKendree now will flag the 7 pin. Illinois has got to win this game for their confidence.
It's the kind of game where you have to shake off what happened previously.
Yes.
Again, the other team is now giving you opportunities. You have to capitalize.
We've now seen back-to-back opens by McKendree by the same 2 bowlers in the 2-3 hole and the 7-8 hole.
There you have it. That's a big double. A lot of excitement there from Josh Reeves. And stepping up in the 9th for McKendree, Billy Netzhammer. It'll be Netzhammer and Dunning. And the 9th and 10th for McKendree. Again, kind of similar situation for Illinois, though. They go into the later frames on a double. See what they can do here. First, here's Netzhammer's delivery. And he leaves a 4 pin. Good shot, a little high.
McKendree women misses a single pin in the 4th frame. Now, Trista with a good shot in the 5th, flat 10. Back to Illinois, 6 pin from the 4-9 hole.
Here's Justin Hottie. Hod or Hottie. I'm not sure how to correctly pronounce that, but we'll go with Hottie. Very important spare. Hottie as well, equally important, if not more, for Netzhammer. Didn't like his feel right there, and he drops the ball on the rack.
On that one.
Hey, he'll take his time. You got to in this situation. Meanwhile, Trista Flowers converts on the 10-pin. That spare is good for Justin of U of I. Here's LU. Samantha Johnson. That is left. And get some help with the Brooklyn strike. That's a double for LU. Netzhammer's delivery. And converts the 4-pin, so a tough back half for McKendree's men here. And still within striking distance. 10th frame, Sheltman. High flush strike for
the game.
Illinois. And that was huge for the Illini. Needed some confidence after kind of giving away a game in their previous match with this same team. And now we'll take game 1.
Darla throws a strike in the 8th for the Lindenwood women. That gives them 3 in a row.
Lindenwood is down a game here in this set.
They're currently on pace to win this game, though. Now looking very good. 98 in the 5th for the LU women with a 3-bagger. McKendree has 73 in the 5th with a spare in the 6th. Max for the McKendree women at 2-teen. Right now the LU women can spare out for 220 as McKendree throws the strike in the 7th.
Shot from Sabona. Shot from Stephanie. Bergman. Wide.
Gets the delay on the shot, gets the strike.
Aside from, the trouble that McKendree had on this pair against Indiana, they've pretty much been in the pocket, kind of almost lights out. Darren Dunning has been lights out too since then, but now find themselves back in that not so familiar role of being down. They knew they had to defeat Illinois twice. They took care of business in the first match and now find themselves down here 1-0 after this game here. So this one's for all, well, not all the marbles as of yet. And now looks like Lindenwood will go ahead and tie it up.
There's your marble match right there.
This one, the women's varsity match, will be for the championship. Both teams subtle.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Both teams huddled up. McKendree and Illinois men trying to figure out their game plan for this next game. I'm sure McKendree men are, if they're keeping the lineup the same, they're looking at their 2-7 and 3-8 guys who both of them opened both frames last game. Tell them, guys, you gotta get yourself together. This is do or die right here.
Illinois just one game closer in retrospect to a championship, if you think about it in that regard.
Yep.
McKendree, if you really wanted to, get into the numbers game and the odds and whatnot, I'm sure, the odds would not be in their favor having to come from behind to win 2 games, to win a title. You heard one of the Illinois guys say, let's win it right now or win it right here. And no time like the present, as they say.
Well, you look at the flip side, McKendree has went through 3 rounds on the contender side to get here.
Of course.
So they've been fighting elimination all day.
You don't want to, if you're Illinois, you definitely don't want, you want to win this now. You don't want to,
no.
You don't want it to get to game 3. Well, LU still striking. And they finish it out.
248.
clean 248. Had a 250 game on that same pair, but it came on the left lane. Trista Flowers with a 2.8.
Now we're waiting on, I think we're waiting on a ball return on one lane and a deadwood on another. A little downtime.
Got you sipping there.
Yeah, it's okay. Got to keep the golden pipes lubricated with some Sprite.
Trista connects on that spare, so they'll finish things out there. Possibly try something. And this is it's a big game for Illinois. Up on the right lane, Kyle Haywood. One is high, does not roll the 2. The southpaw Haywood.
McKendree with their leadoff bowler. Flat 10, but the scout comes across the lane and gets it out.
Riley Smith with a strike.
McKendree fans back here, they know what's up. They know the situation.
For Illinois, again, it's about filling frames. They had some trouble early in their first match. They had to fill frames. As long as you do that, you keep yourself in the game.
Yes.
Unless your opponent, you know, is stringing 6, 7, 8 baggers.
And when that happens, there's really nothing you can. There's nothing you can do. There is no defense in bowling. So, you know, if your opponent's going to string 4, 5, 6 in a row, all you can do is just try and match them. And if you can't match them, hey, I got out bowled. It does happen.
Great shot there from Bibby. Sean. A lot of MCK fans in attendance.
Lindenwood women open up Amanda Chamberlain with a strike.
Oh!
Wow. That's how you make the big 4.
The cave. Whew. The cave in. Nice. Gotta have those breaks sometime, Danny.
Yes, you do. McKendree men back up, front 3.
I like that from Polanski. Great shot from Dylan there. And kind of, in my mind, if that was me, in my head, I'm thinking that that's a real strike.
Yes,
and
exactly.
That's just the kind of.
That's the mentality.
The player mentality that you have.
I mean, I even knew some guys who might so much go out to, you know, smack out at the opposing team and even say something. But there is a little bit of showmanship in bowling.
Absolutely.
Some bowlers choose not to do that. Some do.
Women's varsity match has begun. McKendree looking for a 4-bagger, but Netzhammer able to get out of the split, just leaves the 4. Here is a
Sam
miss
Johnson.
fair for Smith. She struggled here in these final matches. She has struggled.
McKendree goes through the face and gets out the late 10. He'll start with a double.
Again, reminder, folks, that match tied 1-1. The winner of this match will be your 2013 Alliance Classic champion on the women's side for varsity play. That ball's got a hook.
Out the window. Darla with a light 8-pin. Looking to run that down.
McKendree with both their men and women's teams in the championship. Also had their one of their JV squads in the final as well, but Lindenwood's JV1 defeated, I believe, JV2 for McKendree.
For the women.
For the women.
Yeah. Illinois, we touched on earlier, that spare shooting. They chopped that 1-3-6. Now McKendree men with a decisive lead 4 frames in. And the LU women in a hole 3 frames in their final. Cody Gollick for almost a Moorhead for McKendree. Pocket 7-10. The scout gets the 10 out. Now Darren for McKendree, something we haven't seen all day, misses the head pin right. Lindenwood Bergman, good shot, trick 4. Trying to keep the Lady Lions in this one. Again, game 3 right there.
Every shot important.
McKendree women shooting the 7-pin, knock it down.
Good spare for McKendree. Gunning converts in the 5th.
McKendree men now with a 38-pin lead, 4 frames into the match. Illinois leads it 1-0. Amanda Green didn't like it, crossover, only leaves a 6-pin. They're looking at a 29-pin deficit. Ooh. The shot Trista threw, I thought that was going to get back. It didn't look too 8-10 bad off her hand. But the ball never picks up, never reads, skips the back end. Leaves a 2-8-10. Now McKendree men leadoff bowler in the 6th frame. Hard wrap 10. And Amanda runs down the 6-pin for the Lindenwood women.
Spare for Illinois in the 5th. That'll wrap up their first half of the game. They went 9 spare strike, 6-3, 7-2, 8 spare, and then we heard that old whiff that we talked about before on the left side there. But Riley Smith converts to the 10-pin. McKendree is clean through 6, Daniel. Again, we talked about filling frames. And now the pressure solely on Illinois. They come up with the necessary shots and the shot makers to do it. McKendree's offering. And that's a big 4 in the 6th frame from Christine Gill. That is huge.
Amanda Chamberlain has got to, if this Lindenwood women's team wants a shot, she's got to step up right here and throw this strike. I take a re-rack. There is no 9-pin. That's why.
Meanwhile, at U of I, Kyle Haywood struck in the 6th.
Ooh,
is that a 5-7?
That is a 5-7.
So Sean Bibby,
be still my beating heart,
has almost left the 8-10 on lane 14, and now leaves the 5-7. I believe we saw he was either Riley Smith or Bibby leave a 5-7 earlier on this pair as well.
Back to women, Amanda Chamberlain with a swisher strike.
How about that?
Illinois a chance to double. Instead they go baby split. McKendree women double tap that weak 10, get it out.
McKendree, although with the 5-7 here by Sean Bibby, in control.
Did he get it? No.
All right. Pick him up, let's go. Right up, boys, right now. Pick him up now, right here, right now, people.
Big shot here by Sam. She has struggled throughout match play, and she stuffs. That's why she was the individual tournament champion from yesterday. LU doubles after McKendree goes double split.
We will stay with the McKendree LU matchup for just 1 second here, because this game will determine the champion in the winners final.
High flush. Good shot in the 8 spot there by Marilyn Golick. Darla. High flush 4-9, gets the 4 out. Roller scout on the deck, can't get the 9. So she'll look at a single pin spare here. A 4-pin match, assuming both single pin spares, a 4-pin match going into the ninth frame, excuse me. And McKendree misses the 4-pin. Marilyn Garlick misses the 4-pin left. 141 in the 8th. 3 of the last 4 frames open. Lindenwood looking to take advantage. Meanwhile, on the other side, Illinois misses a single pin. They're down 50 to McKendree. That game, McKendree in complete control. Darla runs down the 9-pin. Up now for the McKendree women, Jody Garlick in the 9th. A strike here in the setup frame would go a long way to trying to get this tournament win for the Bearcats, Lady Bearcats, that is. It's got a push. Left off her hand, 6-9-10.
That's a tough spare. Very choppable. It doesn't look like it, but
I can't tell you how many times off my hand shooting that spare off went good, and then it chopped it.
high flush for Bergman.
At this point, a mark and count by Amanda Green in the 10th will get them the win. To be exact, a mark or a spare and 5 or a strike, either way. A strike here from Amanda Green gives the Lady Lions the tournament victory. A spare and decent count will give them the victory. A split or an open will give Trista Powers, the anchor bowler from McKendree, a shot. Falls off her head. Ball looks good. Gets it out. Gets it back. Swisher carries it. And there you have it. That shot will clinch it. I don't quite think everybody here maybe realizes that that shot clinched it. Trista now with a good shot. That's a strike. But your 2013 Lindenwood Lion Classic Women's Varsity Champions will be the Lindenwood University Lady Lions.
Again, another fine job by Amanda Green. Well, it's coming through in the 10th frame time and time again. And in our men's match here, McKendree will force game number 3 for the right to decide a champion in the men's division. Again, Illinois struggles to 150. Not had a lot of success on this pair. Trista Flowers with a strike in the first frame of the 10th for McKendree. Should put another one on the board. .209 to 150 here in your men's match. McKendree evening the score 1-1. And now a game 3 for all the marbles on the men's side.
Both of them went to game 3s. You can't beat that.
So LU, Lindenwood University, with the varsity victory. Also the junior varsity victory as well. In fact, taking 3 out of the 4 spots for championships. Of course, the men's varsity squad was knocked out on this very pair.
You see now the camaraderie and the sportsmanship between the teams, congratulating each other.
This is one of those friendly rivalries,
yes,
if you will. You know, we've been a part of that before, and as well as we want to beat one another, of course, when we're facing them for any form of championship or competition, match play, whatever it may be, always kind of root for that team in particular.
Yes.
Just because the proximity, how much we see each other. I mean, Lindenwood and McKendree see each other almost every time they're out in a tournament. More times than not, they will face one another.
Yes.
At a tournament as well. So you develop relationships and those kinships with other teams and other players the more times you see them. It's almost like travel league. I'll tell you who wants to travel home with a championship, and that's the McKendree varsity man is Riley Smith. It's him on the board. Strike in frame number 1. Final game of the day and of the tournament right here at St. Charles Lanes, the 4th annual Lindenwood Lions Classic. Emil Williams Jr., Daniel Farish, Matt Turek here with you. Ricky Matsko was here as well. Brian Burkhart. That's a big shot for Kyle Haywood. Huge. Still think Illinois is kind of just loose enough.
Yeah.
To be comfortable.
I have to say McKendree has the psychological advantage. They've got about 4 times the amount of people down in the pit area that the Illini do.
Sometimes you want to be where Illinois is. You know that you kind of no one maybe expected you to be here in this situation, that kind of deal. The underdog. You know, you got your teammates and your girls' team right behind you cheering, and sometimes that's just all you need. Jeremy Kuntz owns the beak, leaving the 6'10". Dylan Polanski will try to put a 3-bagger together for McKendree. And that is light, leaving the 2-5. There's a spare from Illinois.
McKendree opens up with a good double, 2-5 in the 3rd frame. Gets 2.
Spare from McKendree.
Illinois already in front of the ball return here. I hadn't noticed that yet. Oh, that's left. He gets the carry.
See, that's Josh Reeves. He's been the most vocal of the Illinois teammates.
There always seems to be that one guy. If you kind of turn to, you know he's going to be cheering, you know he's going to be loud.
McKendree up by 8 and looking to put more on the board. It's Netzhammer with a strike in the 4th frame. Now up 28. Adi will try to answer a good shot.
7-pin
from Justin. Good shot. Wrap 7. The southpaw. So Darren Dunning will step up. It would only be fitting if Dunning had to strike out in the 10th.
I don't know if it's going to get to that point.
A spare there, missed 7-pin in the 4th. And if Illinois does not come back to win this one, it will be just unable to fill enough frames.
I'll tell you one thing that we haven't seen from Illinois today, we haven't really seen them come back from a deficit. You know, double, 3-bagger, 4-bagger to come back. We've seen teams kind of let them back in.
We really haven't seen Illinois that much, actually. Actually, they started out on lanes 13 and 14. We saw them against Rock Valley, if I'm not mistaken. And then they moved on. And went all the way down to 21-22 and started to move right. And didn't really get back here until the championship match.
Darren with a rare miss.
Makes that 310 all the more important. And he makes it. J.J. Shelpman. We've got a match here. So we'll start from the top. Last 5 frames.
I think the crowd eruption speaks for itself. McKendree struck.
Riley Smith with a strike.
Always important to follow up and open, especially a missed single pin with a strike. It gets the team back on track, back in the right direction.
Haywood up. He struck in the first.
Strike here makes it an 8-pin game. I think it's right. It was.
Harry
with the flex.
What a break.
After the shot with the flex.
McKendree still with the lead. Leading by 8. Both teams on a strike as we move to the 7th. This is Bibby. That's high. Same exact pin reaction as Darren Dunning's high flush. 4-pin as well.
Here's a chance for the double.
Something to pay attention to.
At some point as an athlete, as a bowler, that killer instinct has to come into play. You've got to reach out and grab it.
There it is.
There you go. There it is.
It was a fine shot, too, by Jeremy Kuntz.
You've also got to take advantage of your teammates' break.
Absolutely. Those guys are funny. Really staying loose out there, doing a good job at that.
Like you said, it's all part of being kind of being maybe not so much the underdog, but McKendree has more people here.
They have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Nothing to lose for Illinois. Just out bowling. So Sean Bibby will now reset things. I tell you what, if I was in this situation, if I was Illinois, and I saw him come back, it's just me again speaking. Let me preface this statement. Me speaking as a bowler. Depending on how much time he would have taken, I might would have gone up there and tried to bury one, of course.
Yes. Yeah, if you can get 2 frames and 3 strikes ahead of him, yeah, absolutely.
A good spare, and good job by Bibby. To take your time, you know it's a big moment. You need to spare. Here's Josh Reeves. He's in front of the ball return.
Runaway Brooklyn last time.
Runaway Brooklyn.
He got this one right, I think. Not right enough. Not right enough.
So Reeves with a 3-6, but a big double.
McKendree 116 in the 6th, spare in the 7th.
And the 7-pin remains for Polanski.
So now give McKendree 135 in the 7th, the 9 count in the 8th. And here goes Illinois shooting the 3-6, and he flags it. That will give them 142 in the 8th.
That's a tough break there. 202 the max for Illinois. Polanski with the 7-pin.
Knocks it down.
Spare. You got to make that spare there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Here's Justin Hod now. He needs a strike. Crossover, and
2-8.
that leaves the 3-9. Excuse me, the 2-8, I beg your pardon. Again, still not over.
No.
Very important for Justin to make the spare. Billy Netzhammer can, quote unquote, put the hammer down with a strike in the 9th frame.
How long you been waiting?
Here's the shot. There it is. He drops the hammer.
Little step off in front of the Illinois approach.
And it's a good spare.
Good spare. It is not over.
There's a situation. Darren Dunning up by 13. Just needs a mark.
A mark and 8. A strike gets it.
Mark and 8. A strike will do it. How many times has he done that today?
A lot.
Both players Shelpman from Illinois, Darren Dunning from McKendree, just kind of waiting it out, seeing who's going to go first. Kind of like the mind games from both teams here. Although both players, of course, could be taking that necessary time to gather themselves for the biggest shots of the day for both of these individuals. Of course, no matter what happens here, Illinois, fantastic tournament.
I think I did hear a callback. We are waiting on a ball return. So
Well, there you have it. So much for that, huh?
I was wondering how long, necessary turns into unnecessary time taking.
It was starting to get a little long.
But they were waiting on a ball return, so.
We can't see that from here, folks. So, in fact, we can barely see in front of us.
Yeah.
Again,
I think the ball has been cleared, so they are ready to go play.
Illinois max 192. They need them all. Who goes first here? I mean, honestly, who do you think should go first here, Daniel? What would you do?
I mean, if I'm Darren, I want to go.
Okay.
If I'm Illinois, I want to go. Either way, I want to go first.
Okay.
I want to put the pressure on him.
I think that's the only answer for that. And this is Dunning. A chance to seal it for McKendree. You can hear a pin drop in St. Charles Lanes. Here's the shot. And it is wide. 7 count. 1, 2, 4. Needs the mark, however. Now pressure solely on the other side. This is J.J. Shelpman for Illinois. Got to have it. First one is good.
Got it.
Give it to him.
Got it. Good shot. Good shot, kid.
He needs one more. And now the pressure back on McKendree's side.
This nasty little bugger is choppable.
1, 2, 4, choppable.
Losing that swing. Loosen that swing, kid.
Darren Dunning for McKendree. He makes it. Big spare. Now max 195. The most Illinois can come up with is 192. But if Shelpman can strike here, I'm going to put a little bit more pressure on that last shot from Dunning. Push.
Stuffed it.
Stuffed it in the hole.
Stuffed it.
Wow.
8. 8 to win right here.
Well, Darren Dunning. He's 8 pins for the McKendree University Bearcats varsity men's squad to call themselves 2013 Alliance Classic champions. Here's the offering. That is wide, and he gets 7.
Oh, my.
We have the possibility of a tie. Wow.
Strike to tie.
Wow. Talk about made for TV.
Wow.
Well, here it is, folks. We couldn't plan this. J.J. Shelpman, and I sure hope this lineup is right for Illinois, with a chance to tie the game and the match with a strike. Here it is. He's got a push. Brooklyn and McKendree. By the hair of the chinny chin chins, as the 3 little piggies used to say.
Wow.
Under 2013 Lions Classic champions. Wow.
Didn't you say, how would it be if it came down to Darren in the 10th?
Wow.
About the last thing you would expect after watching how well he threw the ball all day.
Absolutely.
The last thing. But sometimes.
And he almost left 6.
He almost left that 7 pin. Or that, yeah.
Oh, the 7 pin would have stayed to give him the 6 count instead of 7. He was wide on both shots.
Yeah.
First shot was wide, made the spare. Field shot, wide, leaves the same believe, the 1-2-4. But congratulations to McKendree. They ran through the contenders bracket after dropping the contest early. What seemed like a long time ago now, as it's 4:36. We got going at about 10:30. Play-in started at 8. But what a tournament, what a second day of competition. All three of us were here yesterday to witness what took place yesterday, of course. And as Phil Vida, head coach for Lindenwood, begins the awards presentation. I believe they called out the JV varsity, the women's champion of Lindenwood University, JV1. But can't get over that finish, Daniel. Wow.
No, you can't. That's why we're here. That's why we love this sport, because it comes down. It can come down to a final shot. It can come down to just pins. And you were talking about how important count could be, and it absolutely came down to count at the end of this tournament.
Impressive nonetheless. That's the Lindenwood JV1 girls. A couple pictures taken. But there's the varsity women's second place, the runner-up now presentation goes to the McKendree Bearcats. I guess no one wants to go up and perhaps take their plaque. Okay, now here we go.
There we go.
They'll have a couple pictures taken as well. But Daniel, I guess watched a lot of bowling today, of course, and rarely do we get an opportunity to just sit and watch something we were a part of for so long.
And that's so cool.
Some of the things you noted, took note of, and impressed you the most about what we watched today.
Well, I guess part of it was how these bowlers reacted to the adversity. A lot of times I saw a team open, split, 2 splits in a row, and they come back with the double. And when you're down there in the pit area and you're the bowler, you know how important it is, but you're really only focused on you and on your team. When we're back here, we're looking at everything unfold. We can see the forest for the trees. We can see everything out here, and we can see, well, that shot cost them this, and then that shot down there, well, if they did this and they did that, then they play. And ultimately, we could look back. I'm sure if we had bubble sheets in front of us, we could see where matches turned. And you don't always see that as a bowler. You just know, oh, well, we split. That cost us the game. No, what happened was the other team carried a lucky strike earlier in the game on top of another strike. They doubled there. That's where the tide turned. So it's fun to sit back and watch how it all unfolds as a broadcaster rather than a bowler.
You see the Lindenwood women's varsity champions just announced. Now the JV1, Lindenwood JV1, being crowned junior varsity champions. You couldn't have asked for a better situation, not only for us, of course, but the players involved. That's the kind of moment you want to be in as a bowler, and we saw it on both ends in the same game at the same time between McKendree and Illinois. Darren Dunning, chance to pretty much ice it.
Yeah.
Wide on the first shot in the 10th. 1-2-4. Meanwhile, J.J. Sheltman strikes. First shot in the 10th. That forces, of course, Dunning. He has to make that spare. And a good hand clap of praise and applaud
for the Illini. And they've earned it. They've absolutely earned it.
They earned, and McKendree giving them a great deal of applause there, and that's much deserved. Again, they bowl very well to get to the championship final, and getting back to that, Sheltman then doubles.
And I think you put Shelton in that position down the road, he'll get that third one.
Absolutely.
The first one was flush. The second one was a bit high flush. And I didn't want to say anything at the time, but looking back, it didn't shock me that he did go high on that shot because the previous one had been high, and you get in that situation and maybe you're not used to it, you tighten up a little bit. But no, as he goes on through his career, through his college career, he'll be a little bit smoother on that psalm swing. He'll get the ball to its break point, and he'll strike.
McKendree being announced as the winners of the Classic here, the 4th annual Lindenwood Lions Classic. Again, Shelton, as you mentioned, Daniel, goes high on the final offering after Darren Dunning gave them an opportunity to tie the game. So this is one of the rare moments you will see kind of just drama unfold at the blink of an eye. And it is all possible. This can happen during regular team game play, but it kind of brings out, it puts more focus and attention on each team during Baker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why if you had given me the option when I was in college to either bowl a 40-game Baker tournament or a 10-game individual tournament, I'm taking the 40-game Baker. It's more fun. It's more exciting.
It is. Each body, from the players involved to the fans, kind of feel everything that's happening, especially the players, no doubt about it. From the first guy to the last guy on the bench, everybody has an opportunity and just feels all emotion. I'm sure each one of those guys' hearts and was racing and goosebumps and all of the above.
That's the feeling that that's a feeling that I get every time I lace up and you come down to a shot where you need it. Whether it's to make a cut in a tournament, to hit a strike pot in a league, or to win a game in league. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's why we do this, is that feeling.
And that was the epitome of what college bowling was all about. We talked about that earlier, and what you saw was what we have. So that about wraps it up, Daniel. It's been a long day for us, but not as long as Matt Turek. We'd like to thank him, of course.
Absolutely, and Brian.
And Brian Burkhart for getting here early, setting up. We came in just about a little bit after that. Took some notes, of course, trying to get everything prepared so we can go on there. Of course, I'd like to thank Mike Flanagan for the opportunity.
Yes.
For everything he has done with InsideBowling.com. It's looking pretty solid, of course. Ricky Matsko was up here as well, helping us out as far as production is concerned, doing some things as well. Also, the St. Charles Lane staff, of course, head coach Phil Vida, proprietor Mr. Randy Lightfoot. Phil sent out the invitation basically to us to see if we could be able to come out and do some things, as Mr. Flanagan obviously was away during the week at the winter swing, the PBA Extra Frame this week in Detroit. So absolutely my pleasure, your pleasure as well.
I don't think they could have gotten two better people to do this. I mean, I'm not saying that we're just the best broadcasters, but you got two former Lindenwood bowlers in St. Charles. It was a no-brainer, and I hope that they make the decision to come back next year. And I would love to come back next year and do this tournament again. That was a lot of fun.
And just to recap, of course, the JV winners on the men's side, Lindenwood University JV 1. On the women's side, LU JV 1 as well. And the men's side, as you just saw, dynamite, close victory there by McKendree. The Bearcats get it done. And on the women's side, the Lindenwood women's varsity team. So, again, congratulations to all participants. Great bowling by every team who was represented here at some point during the tournament. It's been a fantastic day of watching bowling. Again, if we forgot anybody, there was a host of workers and runners who were helping us out during the broadcast today as well. Jillian McBride sending me updated brackets. Brittany giving us updated match play lineup sheets from those in the pit area. We appreciate that as well. Are we leaving out anybody?
Not that I can think of. Matt's shaking his head no.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Again, I don't know when you'll see us down the road, but I'm sure you'll see us at some point in the near future. Again, for Mr. Matt Turek, our wonderful producer. Again, thank you, sir. Brian Burkhart and Matt finally got on board the camera. We wanted to get him on the mic, but he just said no. And for Daniel Farish, fine job, Mr. Louisville himself. My name is Emil Williams Jr., folks. We say so long. Live from St. Charles Lanes, presenting live coverage of the 2013 4th Annual Lindenwood Lions Classic, live right here at St. Charles Lanes, presented by Brunswick. Good night.